Hello YouTubers and welcome to another episode. Today, as you can tell from the title, we've got an exciting one today. I get the amazing opportunity to interview Brooke Mooney. Who is Brooke Mooney, you might ask? Well, she is the world record holder for 2,000 meters on the rowing machine. Absolutely insane times, a 6:21.1. So without any further ado, we're going to get onto the phone with Brooke and have a little bit of an interview with her, ask her some questions, and introduce her to the Yam Squad. So let's get to it. Well, hello, Brooke.
Hi.
Thank you very much for joining us. Would you like to introduce yourself to the Yam Squad, to the viewers, in case they haven't heard what you have been up to lately?
Sure. My name's Brooke Mooney. I am on the U.S. national rowing team. A couple weeks ago, I set the indoor world record on the Concept 2 machine. It was a pretty fun piece. It's been a whirlwind since then.
Yeah.
I've been on the team for almost 3 years, and before that, I rowed at University of Washington.
And that kind of leads us into my first question. So did you learn to row at Washington, or how did you get into rowing?
I got into rowing through skiing. I grew up as a competitive cross-country skier, and I had skied all through junior high school, and towards the end of my high school ski career, I was just I wasn't loving it for myself, and I didn't feel the drive in me. So I was recommended by a ski coach in the Craftsbury Outdoor Center to try rowing. I did a summer camp, and I didn't fall in love with it immediately, but I was why not just give it a try, see what I can make of this. And then I ended up transferring schools my senior year of high school to School of Vermont Academy, and that's where I pretty much first started rowing year round and had my first races. And then from there I went to University of Washington. So I knew how to row before, but does anyone really know how to row before college? I'm still learning how to row.
Oh, for sure. So I think let's go into the 2K, the crux of the interview. So your 2K is 6:21.1. And so a lot of people so I looked at the score, the splits times, and I really appreciate how you approached the 2K itself, because I'm quite one of a step on my last 2K, last 1K of the 2K. Give a little bit of a sprint in the end, give the crowd a bit of what they want to see. So did you sort of plan on going out like that, or was it when did you know that you were okay, I'm going to go for a world record, or did you know at any point?
It was definitely not what I had planned. I had the world record number in my head going up into this test. I can't deny that I knew the number. I knew what pacing I'd have to hit this number. But as we got closer to the test, and within a day or two of the test, I was trying to separate myself from this specific number and start off and where I thought I should start, and then just see where kind of it went from there, and not be so focused on this number on the first stroke, and just kind of see where the piece goes. So my goal was actually to have my first 500 be my second fastest 500, because I wanted to see if I could get the split, just get the split down, and then kind of go from there, because I had a feeling that if I could if I could get it down, I mentally be seeing that number more. But that didn't go as planned. Didn't have as good of a start as I wanted to. And then going into the second 500, I was still I wasn't quite in a rhythm. I mean, I was definitely in a solid 2K rhythm, but it wasn't in a world record rhythm and pace. And through the second 500, I definitely in my head I was all right, this might not be the world record day, but it's still a really good piece, and it would still be a personal best. So I was all right, just hold this, because I was holding this would be pretty much what my average for my previous 2K was. So I was all right, if I can hold what my entire 2K average was through the 1K, that'd be pretty good. Like I'd be really happy with that. And then so going to the third 500, I was seeing the projected finish time kind of going down.
Yeah.
Instead of like the 6:24, 6:25, it was more like 6:23, 6:24, and like kind of like seeing that go down a little bit in the third 500. I like got towards the end of the third 500, and I was starting to see like the 22, 6:22, and I was like, oh my gosh, like if I go, I got this. So I just went, and then I kept on going. I tried to hang on, and like, I honestly like I remember the last like 600, 700, but that also at the same time, like I don't remember, like I don't know what I was doing. I just remember going and like just like watching the projected finish time and like watching the meters. Like I don't even remember looking at the splits until like the last 100, and then my split started to come up again, but it was still faster than my average, but it was like definitely coming up a bit. So overall was not like the pacing that I was expecting or had thought I could do. But I definitely surprised myself with what I could do in like the second half of the 2K.
Yeah. So you said you were like doing some training before. Would there be a specific sort of set of pieces that you were like, okay, I'm going for a PB here, but I don't really know how much I was going for? Or are you kind of like, oh, I'm going for a big PB here, I'm not really sure? Or was it just kind of, it was literally on the day, I was like, okay, that last 600-700?
It was mostly in that last 600. Like I knew, like we didn't really do much prep for it, but we like I've done like 20s and like a 500 here and there, just like putting them in like my workouts so I could like see my pacing. And like I knew, like I'd been seeing good numbers, and I was like, all right, like yeah, like this feels good. Like I could definitely like have a solid piece, but I wasn't like, I guess I didn't have really expectations for it, because I knew where I wanted to start, and then from there, it like I was like, I don't know, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Especially like you said, especially if you've not done a lot of prep, is kind of that. I know I'm in a good place, but where that place is, don't really know.
Right.
And I think that's what I kind of like about the sort of dropping down the speed through the 2K. Like you can use the projected split as a little bit of motivation for yourself, and just say, oh, I can see that 24, 23, 22, and it is a case of, can I hold on and just that little bit more? But that's awesome. And that's, so did you see, so you said that last sort of 10 strokes, 100 meters or so, where you sort of, oh my goodness, I've blown, can I hold on? Or was it just like, I'm pretty sure I'm there, I was just a little bit slowing down?
Like I knew, like I mean, I think probably like I had it in going to the last 100, like I had it almost no matter what happened. But I was just like, it was kind of like that feeling that you get at the end of like a 1-minute Watts test, where you're just like trying to finish and like see how low you can keep it, but it is gonna come up. So like that was my feeling, was like I was definitely not at full slide, and I was just trying to like keep it as low as I can, knowing it was slowly creeping up.
Awesome. And congratulations on that 2K.
Thank you.
So before the 2K itself, like whether it was the day before or the morning of, do you have any sort of like rituals or things that you like to do prior to your 2K that just kind of set you up? Or do you just sort of go straight to it?
I don't have like many rituals for it. For this one, like I was definitely feeling kind of like nervous excitement, and like so I was trying, like I would kind of like go back and forth, being super nervous, super excited. Like it's like the night before, I did like tried to do like roughly like a 6-minute and 25-second, or somewhere in the 6:20 to 6:30 like meditation, just to like sit and like breathe and like relax for like the amount of time of my 2K for the next day, and just like be in like myself for that time. And then like if I'm feeling myself like getting out of it, just like I would say like a split over and over in my head. It's like, well, in this case it was the world record split that I was saying in my head. But for previous tests, like a 6K and stuff I've done, it was like my goal split. So it was just like setting aside the time where it's just like, all right, for this 6-minute, roughly 6.5-minute place and time, I'm just gonna like sit here and just try to like release and
Yeah.
find a little zen.
So would you recommend doing that? Or have you done that before all of your tests, or is this just kind of you were pretty nervous and you wanted to zone in?
This was just pretty much the first time I've done it.
Okay.
Like yeah.
And,
And I don't think I don't know if I would necessarily do it for a 6K because I don't know if I could sit and focus for like 20 some minutes the day before a 6K test. But I think it's just like also just like kind of like letting your mind just like relax and like not always overthinking things, which I do a lot.
do you think you would do that on your next 2K?
Yeah, I definitely think I will.
Yeah. So do you think you'd recommend it to the YAM squad of going out and visualizing, meditating what their goals are prior to their 2K?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's similar to like a race walkthrough.
Yeah.
And like we do them on the water all the time when you're like getting ready for a race, but there's not necessarily a time to do it on the erg. At least with like, you just don't like, who knows where a 2K fits into your training plan if you're doing 2K prep. So this was kind of like my mental race walkthrough where I was just like setting aside that amount of time for myself.
Because there's the same thing at university, and now it's the water side of you're on the lake, you're on the wherever it is, you can kind of just go through the course. At these boys we're doing this, at this part we're doing that, but it's on the erg. If you're not in the center, if you're not on the erg at where you're going to train, it's not quite the same. So yeah, definitely setting it up for yourself and seeing, okay, imagining you're there can really set up, as well as a huge tip that I've kind of tried to tell a lot of people is having that plan set. And if you can sit for the time that you're planning on doing your 2K, you can really focus on that plan that you're really wanting to go for. And the more that you think about it, then the more likely you are to do that plan and not go off 10 splits faster than your 2K for the first 200 and then completely regret every decision from then.
Yeah, definitely.
Super important. And so do you have any tips for anybody looking towards their 2Ks, whether it's, I've got a couple of people doing them this weekend or just 2Ks coming up, would you say there's anything that you would sort of recommend apart from sort of visualizing that they might be able to do to help them get the best for themselves?
I think for me, for like this one, or like what I just did, I would say like to like really like trust yourself and like know that like what you're setting, like the splits you're setting out to do, like you can hit them, and then like being able to like trust yourself, especially in the first 1Ks, like just trust like your training and what you've done, and then like don't be afraid to like take a risk in the third 500 and see what happens.
For sure.
Like once you get I feel like especially on the erg, it's like once you can get over that 1K mark, the idea of taking a risk seems more feasible because you're like, all right, we're like over the halfway point. So it's like trusting yourself that you have the fitness through the 1K, and then knowing that you have that to like take the risk and push it through.
Yeah, for sure. Especially when you're sort of go through that 1K when it hits four digits down to 3 digits, and then you're like you said, you're halfway there. And even if you're pushing it to sort of 700, and you're like, okay, I only have to get to 500. I only have to get to 4, 3, 2, 1, and it can really sort of help you. So I think let's put in, so before we move on from the 2K, we can, a little bit of a quick fire, some questions. So just sort of first sort of thing that comes into your head. Some of them are, most of them are rowing related, so not too different. In fact, all of them pretty much are. Okay, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so the fastest split you've ever seen on the rowing machine?
1:16, 1:15.
Okay. Favorite place to row?
Lake Washington, Lake Union, like pretty much Seattle.
Yeah. Would you rather have bananas for fingers or apricots for eyes?
I'll take bananas.
Sculling or sweep?
Sweep.
The best rower that you've ever rowed with? Or best...
Megan Musnicki.
Okay. No problem. No hesitation. Okay. Favorite rowing memory?
I'd say the Windermere Cup in Seattle is one that I'll never forget.
Rowing down the cup?
Yep. With yachts screaming, blasting their horns.
Favorite post-rowing meal after like a massive session, like 20K or whatever, a big session on the water?
I feel like some like pasta, like a chicken parm or like some pasta with meatballs and marinara sauce.
Nice. Best workout you would say to prep yourself for a 2K if you were doing prep?
Step rate 2Ks are really good, or like doing like 2K 1500, 1K 500, kind of like trying to like hold or get faster.
Your favorite boat that you would row in?
I love eights. They're fast.
And probably, I don't know about this, so erg or boat?
Depends on the day.
And so that's it.
In this case, always the boat.
When it's a nice day outside, you've got the sun and it's warm, yeah, the boat. And that's it for our little bit of a quick fire. So
Wow.
it's
All right.
just nice and easy. And we're sort of going away from the 2K a little bit. So obviously your score is massive, world record. And there's also like a not an argument but an opinion of sort of weights training, strength training in rowing, whether it's beneficial, not beneficial, whatever. What would your take be on strength training for rowing?
I think it's really important, and I think it's something I first started really noticing in college was I like my senior year I started to do a slightly different, like I started to add in more weights when I could, and I think that really helped me, and it kind of made me realize that like to get in the gym 2-3 times a week can be really beneficial. As long as like you're doing, like you have to do the stuff correctly to make it beneficial, not just going through the motions.
Yeah, for sure. And you've managed your 2K. Obviously, you said it wasn't really sort of a goal until you pretty much finished, or maybe that last 500 or so. But you've broken the world record. So what would your next goal be? Is it an air goal kind of thing, or is it on the US team, or what would your next sort of aim be?
Well, my next ultimate goal would be to get selected to race at the Olympics. That is kind of what we're starting to go through right now. So that is the goal. There's the tunnel. Yeah. Hopefully there's a light at the end of the tunnel. But yeah, that's the goal right now.
And so what does the trials process look like for you in the States?
They have not yet told us what it will look like right now. We're still kind of getting back into like rowing from our winter camp and like kind of getting back into small boats and picking up the training again.
Okay. And last question. So I would say you've been a massive inspiration to probably anybody that's sort of picking up a rowing machine, especially in sort of the female side of things, seeing those scores that are just insane. What would you say to anybody that's watching, or anybody that you'd like to talk to that wants to follow in your footsteps? What would you say to them?
I would say to make sure you like have or find fun in what you're doing. Rowing is a very difficult sport, and if you're not having fun, it is probably not going to be worth it, and it's hard to last if it's not fun. But then also like finding balance, and like if you're someone like myself who like picking up a tennis racket on the weekend and like going and like playing tennis with some teammates, like finding something to do that's like not just rowing but still can like get you moving and recovering. It's like, so I think finding that balance is really important.
For sure, especially when they're at the level you're at, it can be really, really easy to, you've got, like you said, your goal to get selected, so you can make your whole entire life about being selected. But in reality, if you're able to sort of take a little bit of that stress out, like I said, go and play tennis with your teammates just for an hour or whatever, even just sort of like a little, just chill something, can take you out of that bubble for a little bit, and then when you get back into the bubble, you're almost sort of a bit fresher and ready to go.
Yeah.
For sure.
Exactly.
And so that is the interview with Brooke Mooney. Thank you very much for your time, Brooke, and I really appreciate it. And hopefully the YAM squad appreciates it. I'll put your Instagram in the description below. And anything you would like to say to the Yam Squad before we go?
Say, yeah, go crush those 2Ks. I'm excited to see the scores. I'm excited to see the pacing of the 500s.
For sure. Thank you very much, and I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And that is the interview finished with Brooke. I really, really appreciate your time, Brooke, as I've probably just said. But good luck to you for your trials coming up, and fingers crossed. Yam Squad, fingers crossed for Brooke. See how she gets on with that outrageous 2K, and see how she gets on. Hopefully we see her in an Olympic boat at the end of the summer. And that will be it for today's episode, Yam Squad. Hopefully you have enjoyed it. Let me know if you would like to see any other sort of interviews like this. I've got one, hopefully, fingers crossed, with Big Phil soon. But if there's anyone else you would like me to have a little bit of a chat with, again, let me know in the comments below. And I will see you in the next episode. Oh yeah!